Hi everyone, Susie here from Minnesota, and I garden in a Zone 4B, and it is April 1st, and it is going to be a tour of my seedlings that I'm growing indoors. All of these I have started from seed, and they're annuals and perennials. I've tried to keep annuals with annuals, but I'm just running out of space. I'm doing okay still, but I'm really trying to make sure I have enough space for when I need it, because it's been a lot of, if you want to say, musical chairs, and yeah. But I didn't want to grow another. I did not want to buy another grow station because prices have just increased by a lot, and it just didn't make sense. So again, I grow a lot of perennials and annuals, and I have a lot of different varieties, which is really neat, but also a little overwhelming because I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to plant everything. On that note, I do give a lot of this away to family and friends. So any plants that you see here in these tiny containers, I have to fertilize them on a weekly basis. Anything that are in containers this size, I have a slow release fertilizer in there, so I do not need to fertilize them. Plus I have a dehumidifier running 24/7, and I'm using that water to water these because I figure at least they're getting that, and dehumidifier water is really good. Otherwise I still use tap water. I have Columbine, Pink Yellow Swan. I grew this from seed a little late, but I think it'll be fine. I think last year I was a little quick for some of these seeds, and they just got a little too big. I still have a month and a half before I can safely plant out. These are perennials, so I'm hoping I can start the hardening off process when temps are in the 50s or above, just for them to get those UV rays and start getting used to it. Probably not leave them outside overnight, but that'll free up a little room. I still have to do some thinking on that. And in front here I have delphiniums. If I were to grow delphiniums from seed again, I probably would get started a little sooner than what I did this year. I probably would start it probably the middle of December, because I put the seeds in a wet paper towel into a Ziploc and put in the fridge for 2 weeks. And then I put them in seed trays and then prick them out. They just seem to be growing a little bit slower than what I thought. Maybe once the root system takes hold, it'll prove to be an aggressive grower. In this tray here, and it is also sharing some room back there with another perennial, which I have elsewhere, but most of these are Calamintha, Marvelet Blue. One moment. Yeah, Marvelet Blue and White, and it's a perennial in Zone 5. I'm a 4B. Could come back for me, but I'm also thinking about planting a lot of these perennials in containers. It says it's supposed to bloom the first year, so we will see. In this tray here, it's not a completely full tray, so I have it like this. I have 2 more rows I can fill. I have 12 plants in here, and I have 4 types of hollyhocks. So I have Radiant Rose, Black Knight, Apricot or Halo Apricot, and then Creme de Cassie's. And I just potted these up maybe last week, and they're doing really good. They definitely needed it. They were pot bound. So, and then I'm kind of just watching for yucky foliage. If the foliage looks a little gross, I'll cut it off. I think they're prone to rust. I have fans going on in here at all times for great air circulation and also to help strengthen the plants. Otherwise I kind of run my hands over them. I can't help it. I have 9 Canterbury bells in here. It's just a mix. I don't know what I'm going to get. And then in back I have 9 water forget-me-nots. I probably started that a little soon. I think I have some buds forming, but they tolerate that moisture, which I have a lot of in my garden, so I think they'll like it. But I didn't think I needed more than 9 plants. I did get rid of a lot of plants when I potted them up, but I compost them, so I kind of feel that it's just, you know, it feeds my soil, so I'm still getting some benefit from them. And this is just such a happy sight. I had to step up on a stool here. Alright, these are the pansies I started from seed. I want to say it was the end of January. Aren't they just gorgeous? This is such a happy sight. So, and I have a lot, and these can take the cooler weather. I'm hoping I can plant them out by the middle of April. Again, I need to harden them off. but I'm hoping I can get about a month and a half of pure happiness out of them outside. My zone is humid, but we tend to be into the high 80s, low 90s, and pansies don't really like the heat. But look at these. The ones in the back are Frizzle Sizzle Lemonberry, and they're just spectacular. Because you got some, it looks like a little blue back there, then you have that purple outline, but then right next door, this is still the Lemonberry. It's just, oh, gorgeous. I think pansies are underrated. They have a really nice smell too. I should say scent. In the front here is Frizzle Sizzle Burgundy. Really like that. I like the ruffly petals. And this one's really pretty. This is the raspberry. That is just absolutely gorgeous. So I can't wait to get those planted out. Right here, I have a lot of different types in this one. I have some pansies back there. But in front, I have the Frosted Flame Snapdragons, and I'm not pinching these. They're a shorter variety. They're branching out nicely on their own. I don't feel the need to. But from what I read about the Frosted Flames is they're supposed to have the variegated foliage, and right now I'm only seeing 2. But that's okay, because this is also the Frosted Flames here. Again, look at this one branching right there. And then Agara. This is I wish I could grow this as a perennial. I can't. It's not hardy my zone. But I did start it a little bit earlier this year because last year it took a little bit longer than I liked for it to bloom. So see what happens there. Again, this is Frosted Flames in the front. Again, good branching. And then I have the Chantilly series. I think it's a purple, rose, and velvet, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm still on the fence if I want to pinch these or if I just want to let them grow and then put out their first bloom, then cut them and let them branch out that way. And just so I can see, though, otherwise it kind of sets it back by a couple weeks. But again, I don't know. And it all depends, too, if I start running out of height room. So I think that'll be the biggest factor there. So, and I think, and they can take the cold a little bit more, too. So we'll see. And down here, sorry if I clear my throat a bit. I've been trying to get over a cold. In front here is Lychnis. I think it's Rose Campium. I just planted it up, so can't wait. I think this also likes to self-seed, which will be just fine in my cottage garden. This right here is Agastache or Agastache, however you want to pronounce it, Lavender Hyssop. It's really neat. Look at the foliage on that. If you can see it, sometimes things don't come through real well on camera. There's a little purple tinge to it. And then some Coral Bells Heuchera back there that weren't ready to be potted up. They're just a little slow growing right now. And then more Delphiniums, and in the way back row, teeny tiny, are my Alchemilla mollis, Lady's Mantle. I should have started those sooner, and they are a very slow grower too. This tray here is Snapdragons. It's 20 peach and rose. I'm growing a lot of them. I have 2 trays. Only reason being is because, again, family and friends like them, and they're shorter, and they tend to like the shorter annuals than the taller ones. And I have a lot of shade, so these are all Impatiens that I started from seed. And the one thing about starting Impatiens from seed is have some patience, because they take a bit. You think that they're not going to work, and then they do. They do need that bottom heat, though. They like that warmth. They look really good, and it's kind of funny because I have Extreme Utopia, which is a mix, and then Extreme White. And the ones that have the green stems are the white, and the ones that have kind of the color is the mix. Isn't that neat? And they're sturdy little plants. I haven't pinched them or anything, so they're doing really good. I have some fungus gnats, but I've been keeping up with them with the mosquito bits. So sorry, that was the mosquito bits that you see right here. And I've been boiling water and putting it in a sterilized potty mix, and then also, of course, always the yellow sticky tape. There's still some floating around, but for the most part, I'm doing pretty good with control. I wish they'd be completely gone, but I don't think that can happen. Here is Heuchera Coral Bells, and this is Melting Fire, and it is just beautiful. So the one thing, if you start Coral Bells from seed, I would say start them in December. They're slow growers, maybe the middle of December. The seeds are so tiny, and then they take a... So yeah, I think I started mine the middle of January, and they're doing really good. But some are a little bit behind, but they do take a while to actually fill out. This next one here is Palace Purple, which is absolutely amazing. I grow it really good in containers. Outside, not so much. I kind of struggle with it. I kind of feel it's best if I treat it like an annual. It just tends to push out of the ground kind of like a frost heave. And I think they tend to do that anyway, but I don't know. The Palace Purple is a really good one. The germination is really good on that. So next door here are the hybrids, Heuchera Coral Bells. And isn't that pretty? Yeah. It's April 1st and I've got Christmas socks on. I love fuzzy socks. But let me put that down. So look at that. It's kind of got that white silver foliage with the green veining. Really like that one. But then this one, there's nothing wow about the color, but look at the size of those leaves. So very happy. And then this one is a little different, but look at how vigorous it is inside. So again, they're hybrids. I don't know what they are, so they could be one of a kind. And yes, I am keeping all of these because I garden in a lot of shade, and I just, it's fitting for my growing conditions. And so what I'm trying to do with the perennials that I'm growing is try and keep a 9 or 6 of each, just to give me some options. And just in case if there's a casualty in one of them. But in front here, these are just annuals. This is Alternathra Purple Prince, just a good foliage plant. And then I have Platinum Blue Globe Thistle. Look how prickly those leaves are. Super cool. And then I have German Status. A lot of the perennials too that I'm growing are really good for cut flowers. Not that I'm going to sell them, but it's just for my own enjoyment. So I have that option of cutting them, and I think also with the German Status it's really good to dry too. And then there's just me that likes to experiment. In the front I had some extra, so these are Dusty Miller Silver Dust. Really can't see the silver on these yet. I have some other ones that you can see just a little hint. And then all of these in here are an obedient plant. I have a Rose Crown and Crystal Peak. I'm not going to keep all of them. I will select the best looking ones. Right now they're not quite ready to be potted up. I would say about a week. I kind of take them out of the can, check out the roots to see is there enough soil in there, are they wrapping around, or even like if the foliage is yellowing and if it's not a water issue and if I'm fertilizing on a weekly basis, then to me it's like it's got to be bumped up. That's kind of an indicator. But yeah, sticky tape. And then I'm getting lots of flies, which I don't mind, but if it would follow me inside, my beagle would go crazy. 3. I only had 3 hostas hybrids that germinated from seed. But seeds were really weird, but yeah, so I'm not sure what I'm going to get, but super excited about that, along with more Impatiens. And then in back I have some Dusty Miller. Right here, these are Butterfly Bush, and they're the ones that get, I think, 7 to 10 feet tall. It's a perennial, I think, in a zone 5 or 6 and up, so not hardly in my zone. It is something where I'm hoping maybe I can just treat it like an annual and it'll bloom for me the first year. If not, maybe it will come back for me next year with a little bit of winter protection. But I have a lot. I'm not going to keep all of them. Again, it's just I'll probably keep the ones that are growing really vigorously. And then in back, I have a Veronica Pink Goblin. And I love Veronica. It's a shorter variety. And some of these perennials might make it into containers. So I'm still not sure. I have lots of thinking to do on that. Again, lots of options, which again, really fun, but maybe a little overwhelming too. Because it's just, where am I gonna plant all of them? And then I turned the light off here because this is like a purple light and it's just a little hard to see. And these lights will be bumped down just a little bit. I only have them up that high just so you can see my plants a little bit better. This is Blue Cloud Transylvanian Sage. It's supposed to be, I think, 3 feet tall. Also a good cut flower. Perennial though, so really awesome. And then in here I have a lot of them. I know family and friends will love this. It's a vine. So I pinched my Acerina. I pinched the Acerina. Felt weird saying that. To promote bushiness. And also I was running out of room because it was getting about up to here. And I run out of room with my vines. So I pinched all of it. And it is really good to do that. To promote bushiness and branching. I don't like to do it too much with annuals because I feel like it sets them back. I did that last year with my morning glories, and I'm wondering if I kind of, I don't know, put off their bloom cycle. But I have to do what I have to do for growing reasons. So right now, they seem to be doing pretty good, and I think the Acerina, and that is how it's pronounced, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm swearing when I say it, but I think it's a climbing snapdragon, or a snapdragon vine it's referred to. I could be wrong, but maybe I should refer to it as that. And back up, Campanula, Peach Leaf Tellin Beauty. It's also a really good cut flower, very slow. I might have started a little bit too late. We'll see what happens there. Again, I say it's a really good cut flower. And then Bergamo. It's a bee balm, but it says this is a short-lived bee balm, so it's probably better to just treat it like an annual. But the foliage on it is, I want to say, a little bluer in color, so it's kind of neat. And I love bee balm. And the germination was really good on that. More delphiniums. Again, they look a little scraggly, but I think they'll do good. This entire tray has, it's the Twizzle series Penstemon, and I think it's blue, purple, and a rose color. Oh no, coral. So we'll see how this does. It says it's a perennial, not in my zone, but it can be treated like an annual. So I think as long as I keep deadheading, they should keep throwing out blooms, hopefully. And then an entire tray of delphiniums. Different kinds though. I have a Delphina in here, probably a lot of Delphina. It's a shorter variety. So I have high hopes for that one. But this looks really good. Again, I just kind of run my hands over it too to hopefully help strengthen the plant. But having fans going helps with that also. Over here I have, a lot of dahlias that I started from seed. I had bumped these up. They are aggressive growers. I probably started them too soon, but they seem pretty happy right now. I haven't pinched any of these yet. You can see there is some side shoots here. I'm giving it just a little bit. I probably could pinch that one, but we'll see. Again, it all depends on how tall they get and about height room and just growing room. So I think I'm just gonna let them be in these for a while without disturbing them too much, and we'll see. Maybe spring will be here. I mean, spring is here, but maybe those warmer temps will be here sooner than later. And here I do have more dahlias here. I just didn't have the heart. They were just gorgeous. But these are a zebra hollyhock, Braveheart, and I think might be putting out buds. I'm not sure. I hope not, but we'll see. But it's definitely a good grower. The one thing that I worry about is with all these plants, it's got such big foliage that it tends to shade out the bottom. So it gets a little scraggly, but I'll worry about that later. Oh, I'm not sure if I showed you too. Oh, when I get down there, I'll try and remember what I used to show you what I use for fertilizer. Over here, I have Foxgloves. These I started a little bit later in the season. I'm happy I did. They look really healthy. I have 9 of each. A tray like this with these containers hold 18 plants. So I have the Dalmatian series, 9 peach and then 9 rose. I grew the peach from seed last year and it bloomed beautifully, so I decided to give the rose a shot. A viewer did say that she has a really bad reaction to foxgloves, so just be careful when handling them. And then over here I have more hollyhocks. This is the Ford Hook Giants. I think they're supposed to get 8 feet tall. I mean, gorgeous foliage. Again, if the foliage tends to get a little yucky like this, I'll cut it off. And I think their rust might be an issue. And that's why I have my dehumidifier going, just to keep up on that moisture, because it's quite intense sometimes. And then lupins, 2 kinds, the Governor and the Chatelaine. So then over here, this is where this grass here is absolutely gorgeous. I grow this in my garden as a perennial. It does say it's hardy in a zone 5. It does come back for me reliably so far. And the fact that I can grow it from seed, and this is Korean featherweed grass, love it. It can take a little less sun and wetter conditions, and that's why it does really good for me. But behind it, that is Clematis Tanjutica Radar Love. I started that a little early because I figured I would have to have a go at germination a few times before they germinated. Well, it was a hit the first time around, and I've just been pinching these left and right just to control them. You can see they're already up to the lights. Excuse me. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. That's why I'm hoping for warmer temps. I can put them outside and hopefully leave them. Down here I have Tradescantia, and this hanging container here is for my aunt. I did it for her last year. She absolutely loved it, and it's doing unbelievably. And then I started 3 containers smaller with a bunch of cuttings too. So I just reuse containers. I did not buy that. That's just a sticker that's left on. So I have this one, that one in back, and then that one right there. And this Coleus here I am babying because my aunt absolutely loves that Coleus. So do I. I don't even remember where I bought that from, and I don't see it in garden centers anymore. So I have a bunch of cuttings down here that I'm babying. So far they seem to be doing okay. And more Coleus cuttings and more. Not quite ready to pot up yet, but getting close. I don't need all of them, but when I take cuttings, I take a lot. Right here, these are tulips that I had the bulbs in my fridge, potted them up. One already bloomed. I cut that one off, and then I was hoping that they'd be blooming by Easter, but I think they'll be done by Easter. So that's fine. If I need the room, they're just going to go outside, and what happens, happens. And then comfrey. Look at that. I'm just using the comfrey, hopefully for a fertilizer. But it's just growing beautifully. So I'm hoping that this too, when temps, I would say when it's in the 50s or above, I can start putting them outside. Hopefully. But it looks wonderful. And this is the fertilizer that I have been using. This is new to me, but I got this from Amazon. And it is a fish and seaweed fertilizer. So it's good for the foliage, but also for blooms. So that is what I've been using. I've been liking it. It is just a strong, strong smell. And so, which I have to be careful. I'm glad I'm in my garage for my plant room. Otherwise, I don't think my beagle would like it too much. It would just make him crazy. Over here, I didn't have the best germination on these because I had another tray in here, but that being said, I think this is enough. Because this one right here, it's the cup and saucer vine, Cabea scandens. This is the Elba, so it's going to be kind of a white cream bloom. But aren't the true leaves really cool? Because this is supposed to be kind of a purple mauve color, and look at that. That's just really neat. So they are very vigorous growing vines. So first time for growing it, can't wait. And then in back, again, I didn't have the best germination, 1 out of 6. I only need 1 though. This is a castor oil bean. This is a very poisonous plant, so, and I know that. This is a statement in the garden. I know I only need 1. I have grown it before and it is wow. The back 2 rows, I have more of the cup and saucer, Scandens started. I think I see 2 coming up in the way back and then 1 more. I wanted 1 more Elba. And then none of these are on a heat mat anymore. This is all Datura here. They do require a lot of heat, but it was just drying them out really badly. So I think that's why I have some sketchy germination there. But that's okay. I definitely have enough. I'm growing these more for my aunt. It is the Datura ballerine. It's a purple, ballerina yellow, and a ballerina white. And I think these are enough plants. I'm debating if I want to keep any myself. They're highly toxic also, but they are beautiful. And then this is Celine Sibilla Carmine. I think it'll look beautiful in a hanging basket, I hope. I'm new to that plant. It's an annual. And then in back, this is where you can kind of see with the Dusty Miller, that silver foliage that's starting. So I can't wait. I think it'll just be a nice accent to some of these containers because I love blooms, but sometimes foliage just kind of offers a rest for the eye and just complements plants really well. And I know my aunt likes shorter varieties, so that's why I'm keeping a lot of the shorter varieties and less of the taller ones. Right next door, this is just my Tam jalapeno. I potted it up. I think it's looking pretty good. I think I overwatered it because it was looking pretty yellow, but I cut back on the watering and it seems to like that. It's also got some fertilizer in with it. It's the, I think the Espoma Biotone Tomato Tone. It's just a fertilizer I had on hand, but it's organic. When it comes to my food, it has to be organic, but when it comes to my flowers and I'm not eating them, then it doesn't matter. And another fly. And then in here, I started these on March 23rd, Phlox Lavender Beauty. And these were just seeds I got from Rare Seeds. It was just a free seed packet. I had purchased some cabbage and some kohlrabi, so they just sent me that, which was really cool. So I had to give it a go, and it's, I think, doing pretty good. Just sitting on the floor here again. Sorry if I'm jiggling a little bit. Trying to get comfortable. So yeah, so this is where I still have a lot to pot up. But this right here is Status Pacific Mix, which I also got from Rare Seeds. It was just really pretty. First time for growing Status, so can't wait. This is Dichondra Silver Falls. I started this March 2nd when you think it's almost been a month for growing. Okay, so look at these cotyledons, and that's their first set of leaves. Which I'm like, I'm not growing grass. It's supposed to be Dichondra Silver Falls, but there's the true leaves. So that's more like it. Isn't that weird? I also had that with the cup and saucer vine because the seed was flat and kind of round. And then when it germinated, it had this thick stem and big leaves. I'm thinking, where were you keeping all that? So it's kind of neat to see the cotyledons and then the actual true leaf. Here, Blue Lady Brawalia. I grew this last year. It is absolutely beautiful. I loved it. I didn't have to do too much to it. So I think this would also look good in a hanging basket. Not sure. I'll be running out of room at some point. Scabiosa drumsticks. That was really neat. The seeds were really weird, which look like that. So that is stuck, so I have to try and figure out how to get that off. I've been misting it to help soften it. But yeah, so these are really nice. Again, the grow lights will go down closer to them to create stocky plants. I'm just doing this for video. And then in here is Frosted Explosion Ornamental Grass. I think this will look great as a filler for in with cut flowers. I kind of struggle with grasses. They kind of look weedy at some point, but high hopes for that one. This is Limon Talinum, if I'm saying that correctly, and it's a very pale color foliage. But I just started that on 320. Hasn't been growing all that strongly. These are not ready to be potted up yet. I would say maybe another week or two. So that gives me some time. And Tobacco Swivolens, I grew this last year. Liked it. So this is the only Nicotiana that I'm growing this year. Unless if some come back from next year self-seeding. Like that one. I had seeds left over. This is kind of a neat plant. Kind of looks like a really happy plant. It's a poached eggplant. And isn't that? And then you see those true leaves right there. So cool. I'm thinking about doing this as a companion planting with my vegetables. Because when I looked it up, I kind of said that's where they grow it with tomatoes. So we'll see. But it is really neat. I think that also would be one that would look kind of cool in a hanging basket. Let me know if you have grown any of these varieties in the past or if you are growing them. And if you have any questions about what I'm growing or how I'm growing, you can leave them in the comments. I'll get back to you. Dianthus Rainbow Loveliness. So this is not a perennial in my zone. I think it's at a 7. So I'm going to treat this like an annual. I hope I get blooms this year. Hope. Persian Jewels, I was thinking about just a direct seeding this outdoors when I could. I had also thought about winter sowing it, but I'm like, I'll just grow it indoors right now. It's Nigella, so this one is a little different. I think it's native to Australia. So I don't know how it's going to like growing in a warm, kind of hot climate with lots of humidity. The heat it could take, but I don't think it's going to like the humidity, but we'll see. And this is what it's called, Joey Lamb's Tail in here. I'm not even going to try and say that, so that is the spelling. Yeah, we'll see how I like it. It looks like an interesting plant, but I think this will be ready to be potted up probably in a week. And then in here, Fairy Queen Salvia, and I love salvias. This is a shorter variety. I thought I had some of the other salvia left. I think it's a sage. I'm going to say it was like a Texas hummingbird coral nymph sage, and I looked and I had the packet but no seeds, so that was bad on me. And hummingbirds absolutely love the salvias, but that's okay. I think my garden center has that hummingbird coral nymph one that I can buy just as a bedding plant. So this is what I have growing right now, and I still have a few more seeds to start. The majority of the seeds that I have left to start are most of my vines, so they just take up a lot of room. That's why I'm kind of waiting with them. I'm going to be doing the hyacinth bean vine, I think Ruby Moon, and I think there's a Silver Moon. And I'm not doing any morning glories just because they were late to bloom for me. So we'll see. I think I'm growing some vines that are in that family though. And then I'm just kind of holding off on some zinnias and the Tithonia. They germinate really quick. So yeah, so that'll give me probably about 2 weeks here, and then I'll need to figure out something. But so hopefully you enjoyed this seedling tour, and my next one will be in May, and things will probably be all over the place. So yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed, and bye for now.